Thank you for joining me for yoga today. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And in the description is a link to our Patreon account. If you'd like to offer a donation, it's greatly appreciated. Namaste. If you have something like a bolster, we're going to place it behind our back. So a rolled up mat will work, or a pillow, but ideally we're going to have some lift to the spine. Bring your sit bones right up against the bolster. Bring the soles of the feet together. And if you need some support underneath your knees, you can put your blocks under there for support, or just let them hang. And then allow your spine to soften back onto the bolster. If your chin is jutting up in the air, you can put a blanket underneath your head, and then arms out wide, palms face up. And actually physically engage the shoulder blades together and down your back, and then relax them. So we want to feel this receptivity of the posture, the open heart, the open hips. And then just settle in. Let the physical body be drawn down to the earth through gravity. And according to the yogic teachings, Prakriti is anything that's material, governed by the laws of the material world. And they're considered to be feminine in nature, a feminine force, the Shakti. So feel first the skin start to settle. Relax any contraction that you find there. And just below the skin, feel the muscles settle. The weight of them drawn down by gravity. Again, any contracted muscles or areas of tension, releasing. And feel the fluid in the body settle. The organs and the bones settle. And notice if there's any area in the body that just doesn't quite want to let go. Is there something that is holding on, or maybe holds on continuously throughout the day? Areas like the face, the back of the neck, shoulders. Sometimes it takes a little coaxing to get these areas to relax. And then from here, we'll begin to watch the breath. Inhale through the nostrils, fill the chest first. Rib cage expands, breath moves into the belly and ultimately into the pelvic floor, as we feel a softening there and a receptivity to the breath. And then on the exhalation, lift the pelvic floor in and up. Feel the navel draw in and up. The rib cage comes closer together and the chest softens. Breath leaves the nostrils. So a few rounds of watching this pattern. On the inhale, as the breath comes in and down, the pelvic floor softens to receive the breath. And at the beginning of the exhalation, we start by lifting and engaging the pelvic floor to push the breath out. And just that conscious relaxation of the lower belly and pelvic floor, and then the engagement of it, creates a sort of pumping action in that lower portion of the spine. This begins to stimulate some of the Apanavayu, the energy in the body, or collections of energy channels that contribute to elimination, letting go. As you're breathing, see if you can get the breath to be smooth. And we're going to begin Vinyasa, which is to let the exhale be longer than the inhale. So a nice count in the mind is a 5 count on inhale and a 7 count on exhale. This way, if you're doing it on your own, you can count a little faster if your breath is shorter, a little slower if it's a little longer. Now with that longer exhale, you have more of an opportunity to lift and engage the pelvic floor and to pull the navel in and up as you push the breath out. And if you haven't brought in the Ujjayi sound, apply that to the breath now, just so the mind has another tool to focus. Let's take 3 more here. 5, 7 breathing. Keep relaxing on exhalation, again, letting the body surrender into the earth. Last one. And then when you complete your last breath, just relax all effort. Feel the whole body softening. Breath just coming in and going out with ease. No shaping of the breath. And then gently guide your hands to your heart. Let your thumbs touch your sternum, and if you tuck your chin in towards your chest, it'll feel like you're bowing your head to your hands. So we're going to set the intention for the practice today to work on this ability to open and create space, while at the same time finding an effortlessness or a surrender to the action. A way to feel comfortable, at peace, and in alignment with nature. So if there's anything right now going on in your life that's asking you to move into that openness, and perhaps sometimes our resistance to it is not in alignment with nature, but is our own will going against where we are meant to be. Then just reflect on that for a moment and see if you can make the intention more personal to you and your life. And then with that energy of the divine feminine, like a loving divine mother who loves her children no matter what, just take a moment to wrap yourself in that embrace, in that understanding and care and compassion. And then bring your hands to the outsides of your knees and gently guide your knees back to center. And we'll curl to the right side into fetal for just a moment, arm under the head as a pillow, just to rest here, settle in. And then one hand can just gently move the bolster and the blanket out of the way. You can take the spine back into the mat, feet flat, knees bent, preparing yourself for dynamic bridge. So feet are about hip distance apart. Gently reach for the heels with the fingertips. And then pressing down into the earth. On your inhale, slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. And then exhale, pull the pelvic floor and navel in and up as you slowly roll back down. And notice the support there for the spine as you do that. Again, inhale as you come up, breath comes in through the nostrils, fills chest, ribs, belly, pelvic floor. And then you engage pelvic floor and navel in and up, squeezing out the rest through the rib cage and the chest as you slowly lower down. Good. Keep going, inhaling, exhaling here. And see if you can get back to that V-Samavriti breath. Exhale 2 counts longer than the inhale. Watch the tendency as you rise for the knees to splay apart. Keep them hugging the midline of the body. And make sure that when you get to the bottom, you're relaxing the glutes completely. So we want to really feel that softness before we engage and lift again. Good. 2 more here, please. Notice the movement of the spine. So are there areas where the spine moves with ease? Maybe some areas there's some stiffness or tension. Just take a note of that. Good. And then here on your exhale, bring your knees into your chest. Just really squeeze them in as deeply as you can and rock from side to side, loosening the lower back. I'm going to hug the right knee in and extend the left leg long to the floor. As you pull that knee as close to the armpit as possible, reach the supporting leg away. And you can either flex the heel of that foot or reach out through the pad of the foot with the toes lifted like you were pressing the gas pedal on your car. But we're going to feel the inner thigh of the right leg stretching here and then compression on the top of the right thigh. And then switch. Take your left knee in, extend your right leg long, and then pull that knee up. See that separation there between the thighs. So as you engage your supporting leg, then you can press away in the opposite direction. Good. Then bring both knees into your chest. Keep the knees together. Place your hands on top of your knees. Push your knees away to arm's distance. And then exhale, open the knees up. Circle them around back to your chest. So again, they stay together as you push the knees away to arm's distance. And then exhale as you open them wide and squeeze them back to your chest. Inhale, push away. Exhale, open wide, squeeze them in. So I think of making like butterfly wings. You're creating that central line and then opening the knees up to create the half circle. And just notice again here, is there any tension in the hips? And once you've gone in one direction for a while, maybe try the other direction. So you'll start with the wide knees as you inhale and push away. And then come down the center line as you exhale them back to your chest. Inhale, knees wide and push away. Exhale, come back to the chest. So sometimes going in the opposite direction creates a new sensation. One more here. Good. And then bring the soles of your feet together, wrap your hands around them, draw the heels down towards the glutes, let the knees splay wide, and then lengthen the tailbone away from the crown of the head. So you create as much space through the spine as possible without lifting that tailbone off the earth. As you draw the heels down towards the pubic bone, feel the hips really widening here. And then keeping your grasp on the outside edges of the feet, open the feet up wide, soles of the feet face the ceiling, and let the weight of the arms do the stretching here. So you just kind of hold on and grow heavy, shoulder heads draw down into their sockets. And then gravity is going to do the rest of the work of opening up those heavy muscles of the inner thighs. 2 more breaths here. Keep letting go. And then we'll cross the ankles, hands underneath your knees, roll yourself all the way up into a seated position. And we'll do a little stretching here just to experience some of the space that creates. So cross-legged position, Sukhasana. Inhale, the arms reach up. And now exhale, fold through the legs. Just soften everything down. Reach your fingers as far as they'll go. Really elongate the spine, and then head and neck releases. Hands spread wide. Draw a little bit of the weight back into the sit bones, lengthen the lower back. Good. Breathe down into the kidneys. Feel them widen. Navel hugs in and up on exhalation. So as you feel that, really that what we're describing is Mula and Uddiyana Bandha. The lifting of the pelvic floor and navel in and up on exhalation. Now stay low and square your chest to your right thigh. Press your left sit bone down. Head and neck stays relaxed. Keep your hips anchored into the floor, so watch the tendency for the left to want to come off. Again, breathe down into any sensation. So if there's some tension there, find it, seek it out, and then send your breath there. Good. Move over to the other side. Do the same thing. Stay low. Square your chest to your left thigh. Press your right sit bone down. Hands ground. Each exhale, pelvic floor and navel pull in and up. So as you engage that, you might find that taking the belly out of the way creates a little more room to deepen the stretch. And then come back to center. Anchor both sit bones into the earth, extend the arms, come all the way up, and then circle the hands back behind you. If you can point your fingertips towards your hips. And then you can either press down into the hands and just lift the sternum from there, or if you want to lift your hips off the floor and press down into the knees, get a little bit of a deeper stretch there for the shoulders. Either way, keep that breath long and deep. One more here. And then sit bones down, roll off the fingertips, just extend the arms long for a moment and feel that sensation. Just the release. Good. Tabletop position. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips, tops of the feet pressing firmly into the floor. On the inhalation, lift the heart, lift the sit bones, look up, tuck the toes, and on the exhalation, downward facing dog. Toes in slightly, heels out. Roll the inner thighs in and back and allow the sit bones to spread. And if you want to bend one knee and press the other heel down to deepen the stretch, and then switch and do the other side, go ahead. As you go back and forth, it just encourages the legs to open up. And then in the upper body, we're going to feel the shoulder heads rolling away from the ears. Squeeze the inner elbows toward one another and press firm through the web of the index and thumb. Good. And then find the feet static. And now really work here that 5-7 breathing. So on the longer exhale, you've got more of an opportunity to lift the pelvic floor and draw the navel deeply in and up. And of course, since we're slightly inverted here, gravity is going to assist that. So inhale in and down, soften the pelvic floor, get the breath all the way down there. And then exhale, start in the pelvic floor. Use gravity to pull that navel in and up, pushing the breath out for a longer exhale, 2 counts longer.
Good. Now shorten your stance a little bit. Walk your hands back just about 6 inches or so. And take your left hand to your right ankle. And then just bring a little twist here into your downward facing dog. Navel pulls in and up. Rotate to the right. And then switch sides. Take your right hand to your left ankle. Give a little bit of a tug there on the ankle as you twist in the spine, just releasing some of the tension that might be there in the connective tissue in the back body. And then release, come onto the balls of your feet, bend your knees, look at your hands, and step your feet forward to your fingertips, all the way to the top of the mat. And then bring a little bend in your knee, so soften into it, hands onto the backs of the thighs, just slide down a few times. So really coaxing the back of the legs to open. Again, feeling that gentleness, that care and attention. Good, and then wrap your arms around the backs of your knees. And you can just hold on to the elbows. Bring your body weight forward into the balls of the feet so the sit bones lift high. Head and neck is relaxed. So you really want to stay soft through the head and neck so that it can provide some traction there for the spine. So it's only like a 15-pound bowling ball attached to your spine and just allowing it to soften down towards the earth, being pulled by gravity. And keep lifting the hips higher. Maybe you can start to straighten out the knees. Watch the tendency then to sink back in the heels. And at the bottom of each exhale, really pull pelvic floor and navel in and up. One more breath. Good. Hands to hips. Flatten the spine. Come up halfway. Reach the crown of the head away from the sit bones. Really elongate as much as you can and feel the muscles of the back body engaging. And then squeeze your elbows back behind you, press into your feet, and come the rest of the way up. And then just find Samastiti for a moment. Just noticing the body adjusting to that position. One more breath here. Okay, so we'll start at the front of our mats. We're actually going to do moon salutations today. So that begins with the feet hip distance apart. Inhale, the arms reach up. And exhale, forward fold. Turn the toes out, heels in, and inhale into squat. Hands to prayer, elbows on the insides of the knees. Exhale, bring the hands back down, turn the toes back in, forward fold. Right leg steps back, lower the knee down, top of the foot. Keep the fingers in a finger stand and lean forward into the lunge, stretching the quad. And then exhale, step back to downward facing dog. Inhale the knees to the floor, heart lift, sit bones lift. And then exhale, navel to spine, pelvic floors lifting as you draw back to child's pose. Now inhale, stand on your knees. Bring the arms up and over the head. Lift and lengthen through your core. And then exhale to the best of your ability. Keep the arms in alignment with the ears as you come back down to child's pose. Inhale back into tabletop position, heart lift, sit bones lift. And exhale, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Right leg steps forward, lower the left knee to the floor, keep the fingers in a finger stand and lean into the lunge. And then exhale, step the back foot forward, standing forward fold, feet are hip distance apart. Toes out, heels in, inhale into squat, elbows on the insides of the knees, hands in prayer. Exhale, turn the toes back in, forward fold. Inhale, arms out wide as you lift and rise all the way up with a flat back. And then exhale, arms by your side or hands to prayer, Samastiti. That's one side, let's do the other. Inhale, the arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Left leg goes back. Lower the knee. Keep the fingers in a finger stand. Lean into the lunge on the inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, tabletop. Heart lift, sit bones lift. Exhale, lift pelvic floor and navel, child's pose. Inhale, stand on the knees, arms reach up and over the head. Exhale, bow back down to child's. Inhale, tabletop position, heart lift, sit bones lift. And exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg forward, right knee to the floor. Again, fingers in a finger stand, lean into the lunge as you inhale. Exhale, step the back foot forward, standing forward fold. Toes out, heels in, inhale into squat. Exhale, toes back in, forward fold. Inhale, lift and rise, all the way up, arms reach. And exhale, hands by your side or to your heart. Inhale again, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Toes out, heels in, inhale, squat. Exhale, forward fold, toes back in. Right leg goes back, lower the knee, inhale into low lunge. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, tabletop. Heart lift, sit bones lift. Exhale, child's. Inhale, stand on the knees. Arms reach up over the head. Exhale, child's. Inhale, tabletop. And exhale, down dog. Right leg forward to the fingertips. Lower the left knee, fingers in a finger stand. Inhale, lean into the lunge. Exhale, step forward, feet hip distance apart, forward fold. Toes out, heels in, inhale into squat. Exhale, forward fold, toes back in. Inhale, lift and rise, all the way up. And exhale, arms to your side. Left side, inhale. Exhale, fold. Toes out, heels in, squat. Inhale. And exhale, forward fold. Toes back in. Left leg back, low lunge. Fingers in a finger stand. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, tabletop. Heart lift, sit bones lift. Exhale, child's. Inhale, stand. Arms reach. Exhale, child's. Inhale, tabletop. Heart lift, sit bones lift. Exhale, down dog. Left leg forward, right knee down, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, toes out, heels in, heart, hands to heart. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift and rise, all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart, just one more full round, right and left. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, squat. Exhale, fold. Notice the calming quality to the moon salutations. Right leg back. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, table. Exhale, child's. Inhale, stand on the knees. Exhale, child's. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, down dog. Right leg through. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, step forward, feet are hip distance. Inhale, toes out, heels in, squat. Exhale, toes back in, forward fold. Inhale, lift and rise all the way up. Exhale, hands down. Last one. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, squat. Exhale, fold. Left leg back, low lunge. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, child's. Inhale, stand on the knees. Exhale, child's. Inhale, table. Exhale, down dog. Left leg forward, right knee down. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, standing forward fold. Inhale, toes out, heels in, squat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift and rise all the way up. Arms reach overhead. And exhale, either hands by your side or at your heart, whatever feels more comfortable. And then just stand for a moment in Samasthiti. Observe how you feel. Observe the difference between the moon salutations and the sun salutations. So new moons are times when we can begin new projects, bring in new intentions. It's like that very beginning seed stage. And those of us that plant cold weather seeds at the beginning of spring, it's when the seeds are underground, just about to emerge, but are waiting for that perfect moment, the right amount of sun, the right amount of rain, and the right amount of heat. One more breath here. Okay, so we're going to move into a variation of chair pose. Hands to your hips. Take your right foot to mid-thigh. Open the knee up and bring your hands into prayer. Sink back into chair. So it's just like you're about to sit in a chair. The weight goes into the hips and even the heel, and then you can feel the toes are able to lift slightly in that supporting leg. Now, as you sit back and continue to let the sit bones go down, let the right knee open up a little bit more, imagining that there's a weight attached to that knee. Keep your gaze steady, either at the floor or the horizon line. And then continue to lift the sternum forward, relaxing the shoulders. So there's no effort in the upper back. That stays soft and open. And the hips are getting a nice deep stretch here. A couple more breaths. Right into the sensation. Remember your V-Samavriti. Exhale is longer than the inhale. This way we're letting go of more than we're taking in. And then come back up into standing. Release. Take a moment to find your even pressure in your feet. And then we'll go to the other side. So left foot to mid-thigh. Flex that foot, hands into prayer. And as you exhale, start to sit back into chair. And then inhale the sternum forward. Keep the shoulders relaxed. And as you're practicing that V-Samavriti breathing, can you notice on the exhalation, if you lift the pelvic floor and navel in and up, creates just a little more stability there in the core. And that internal support allows the external musculature system to find right alignment. And just everything kind of falls into place when we have that internal support. Steady breathing here. Use the Ujjayi. Keep opening up that left hip. One more breath. And then come back up into standing. Take a moment just to feel support there. Good. If you're at the front of your mat, you're just going to step your right leg open to the side, turn the toes in. Hands to hips, so toes are turned in slightly, heels are out. Inhale, lift the sternum forward and up. And then exhale, hinging from your hips, hold on to your hips as you fold through your legs. And now you're going to keep your hands at your hips and push your hips up towards the ceiling as you allow your spine to soften down. So again, we're going to rely on the heaviness of the head. Rely on that weight to create some traction for the spine. Now here too, we have a tendency to sink in the heels. So come forward a little bit in the balls of the feet. It might feel like you're going to tip over, but you won't. And make sure you find that pelvic floor and core pulling in and up. Again, we're slightly inverted here, so you've got gravity working for you, as well as that internal support creating stability. V-Samavriti breathing. One more here. And now scoop the heart forward and up as you come back up to standing. Turn the toes out, heels in. Bend the knees wide and come into this goddess pose.
So we've got some space here in the hips. We're gonna bend the elbows like goalposts. You can open the fingers wide. And try to think of my body between two planes of glass. So legs are firm here. You can even lift the toes if it helps to activate the arches of the feet. Tailbone is long and lower belly is lifted. So this is creating that pelvic floor lift. And then breath is deep, gaze is steady. Feel some of that warmth building. We're going to use that warmth in the practice. We want it. Equanimous mind. Breathing here. Good. Then slowly straighten the legs. Reach the arms up over the head. Palms touch. And then exhale the hands back down to the hips. Now we're just going to turn the left toes in, and then the right toes are going to turn out a little bit more, preparing for triangle pose. So make sure you've got heel to arch alignment, about 3 feet between the legs. Inhale the arms nice and long. Exhale, feel like someone's pulling your arm forward. So lengthen as much as you can, pushing the hips back. And then when you can't go any further, hand to shin, ankle, foot, floor. Left arm lifts. If you like to hook the index, middle thumb around the big toe. Perfectly fine to keep a micro bend in your right knee. And traditionally here, gaze is up at the hand, but if it's too uncomfortable for the neck, keep it neutral or look down at the floor. Push the ball of the front foot away from the back heel. Really anchor here. And practice that V-Sama-Vritti breathing, lifting pelvic floor and navel in and up. Good, 2 more. Ujjayi breathing. Now you're going to lift with the left hand, press into the feet, come back up, and we're going to just switch the legs. So left foot goes straight, angle the right foot back, heel to arch alignment, inhale here, exhale, lengthen, like someone's pulling your arm forward, push your hips back, and when you can't go any further, hand to shin, ankle, foot, or floor. Don't go down further than you're supposed to, because what happens is we tend to collapse the heart then. Microbend the front knee if you need that support. Push the ball of the foot away from the back heel. Keep sending the sternum forward away from the pubic bone and rotate the navel back toward the right. Again, gaze is up at the hand, but if that's too uncomfortable for the neck, neutral or down at the floor. And then once you have a relative sense of stability here, really work that pelvic floor and navel lift. So Mula and Uddiyana Bandha on exhalation. And you'll find, again, that inner body support creates more room for the rest of the extremities. Two more, steady breathing. Again, we're going to push down into the feet, lift like someone's pulling your arm up, and turn your toes in, hands to the hips. Inhale, lift the heart. And now exhale and forward fold. Again, you're going to hold onto those hips and push them up towards the ceiling, just feeling that sweet release of the spine through the legs. And make sure you lean forward in the balls of the feet. Good. Keep going. Keep surrendering, softening through the legs. Keep leaning forward. Shoulders are away from the ears. Push the hands into the hips. And then fingertips to the floor. We're going to turn towards our front of our mat, pivoting that front foot, coming into high lunge, pivoting on the ball of the back foot. And then if you need extra padding under your knee, flip your knee over. We're going to bring the right knee down to the floor. Anchor into the feet. When you're stable, inhale, bring both arms up and over the head. Exhale the left hand down to your thigh. Inhale the right arm as high as you can and really feel that stretch along the right side body. Exhale, sink down into the lunge. Let the fingertips reach towards the floor, but they don't have to touch. Inhale, come back up again. Now take that tailbone under, lift the lower belly. Again, that's the application of the pelvic floor and navel lift. And then exhale and sink down. Good. 3 more with your Vinyasa breath. So you're inhaling for 5. And you're exhaling for 7. It's just giving you just a little bit longer time to sink in and settle. 2 more. On this last one, we'll inhale, both arms reach up. And now exhale, come down on the inside of your left leg. You can heel toe that foot out a little bit and then roll to the outside edge of the foot. Plant your hands underneath your shoulders and then tuck your back toes under and straighten your legs, sliding your knee back a little bit and then lower it down and the top of the foot. So this inner foot is lifted, open. The outer foot is anchored into the mat. And you're just letting the left knee open up to the side. So think about like opening the page of a book. Now, if this is really comfortable for you, you can bring forearms to the floor. Head and neck would be relaxed or neutral here. You can gaze at the back knee or right between the hands. And then keep your concentration in that left hip. So realize that the breath is going to be able to go in there. On each inhalation, you can intensify it. And on each exhalation, you have the opportunity to let go further. Just surrender. Keep pressing through your forearms so there's space in your shoulders. One more breath here. And then bring the hands down under the shoulders. Spin that foot flat. You can heel toe it back in a little bit. And then tuck the back toes under, release your mat and step back to downward facing dog. And just take a moment in down dog to feel the difference between the right leg and the left. Notice some of the sensation. And now we're going to bring the right foot forward to the fingertips. You can flip your mat over if you need extra padding underneath that knee. Once you're nice and stable in the legs and feet, inhale, both arms reach up. Exhale the right hand down to the thigh. Inhale your left arm a little longer. And again, really feel that stretch along the left side of the body here. As you exhale, sink into the lunge. Let the fingertips reach towards the floor, but they don't have to touch, so you don't have to lean forward. And then inhale, tailbone absorbs under, lower belly lifts. Essentially, that's engaging Mula Uddiyana Bandha. Exhale, sink down. Feel that stretch in the hips. Inhale. 3 more with your breath, please. Last one, 5-7 breathing. And both arms come up on this final lift, and then you're going to lean forward on the inside of the right leg. You walk that right foot out a little bit, and then roll to the outer foot, lifting the inner foot. Plant your hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck your back toes under and slide your knee back. So lift it up and slide it back, then lower the top of the foot down. Now let this right knee really rotate open. And if you're tight here, it's okay. Just breathe. You can stay on the hands. If you've got a little more flexibility, try bringing those forearms to the floor. You're pressing through the forearms so there's space in the shoulders. Head and neck is heavy. You can look at your back knee or keep it neutral. But we want to release any areas of tension so that we can concentrate the work in the right hip. Use our breath to intensify it on inhale, and exhale, let it go. Whatever gets stored in there, be it physical, mental, emotional, we're releasing it here today.
One more breath. Now again, you're going to bring your hands back under your shoulders, heel toe that foot in a little bit, and then tuck the back toes under. You can release your mat and step back to downward facing dog. And feel the difference between the right side and the left. Some of that warmth, some of that prana moving through the leg. And then them coming back into balance. Each exhale, pelvic floor and navel pull in and up. Let's go ahead and do a vinyasa here. First one for the practice today. So come forward into plank position. Bring knees to floor. Lift your toes behind you. Squeeze your elbows tight into your side till your belly comes down. Tops of the feet ground. Inhale, cobra. So you can stay low on the low ribs or come up to the pubic bone, but elbows and shoulders are pulling back. And then exhale to downward facing dog. One more breath here. Now, right foot comes forward to the fingertips. Now, you can bring the padding underneath your left knee again if you need to. Inhaling both arms up. And take the right hand down to the thigh. Inhale your left arm long. And now cross that elbow over and set it on top of your thigh. So fist with the bottom hand, cup with the top. And then rotate the navel to the right. Hands can also be in prayer if you prefer. So it's nice to get this rotation here first. And then if you're feeling stronger today, straighten the back leg and come into a high lunge twist. Now we've got the flexibility in the hips, that's not the problem, but we also want to feel that pelvic floor pulling in and up. And again, as we engage the pelvic floor and navel, that inner body support will allow for a deeper twist. Now you can really feel gravity in this pose. So allow gravity to do its work, and then use your breath to create some space. So on the inhale, feel lighter. One more here. Fingertips to the floor. You're going to spin your back foot flat, line your front heel with the arch of your back heel, and then come up through Warrior One, open hip and shoulder to the left for Warrior Two. So press into the ball of the front foot, the outside edge of the back foot, gaze over the middle finger of the right hand. That tailbone is long, lower belly is lifted, that knee is opening up towards the pinky toe side of the foot. Really feel that you're stretching through the fingertips so that no tension's gathering in the shoulders. Keep sending it out. Breathing here. Vinyasa. Now, if you want to reach forward over that right leg, send the right forearm to the thigh, bring the left arm up and over the head and come into an extended side angle. Again, drishti is up at the inner arm. If that bothers your neck, look neutral at the horizon or down at the floor. So the legs are the same as they were for Warrior Two. Keep pressing to the outside edge of the back foot and feel the pelvic floor and navel pull in and up. Breathing here. One more breath. And then fingertips to the floor, you're going to turn your right toes in and come into your wide foot spreading posture. Once again, bring your hands to your hips. Push your hips up towards the ceiling, letting your spine really sink down. And watch the tendency to sink in the heels. Come forward in the balls of the feet. Now with this longer stance, you might be able to get the crown of the head to the floor. So if the crown of the head goes to the floor, draw the chin towards the chest. Lean forward into the balls of the feet. Breathe here. Two more. Vinyasa. And then fingers in a finger stand. Inhale halfway up. Walk towards your front foot, pivoting your front foot. Line the front heel with the arch of the back foot. We're going to reverse that whole thing. So come back up into Warrior Two. And then find side angle right away. So forearm to the thigh, right arm up and over the head. Press the outer foot away from the fingertips. Create space in that bottom shoulder. Again, drishti is either up at the inner arm or at the horizon line or down at the floor. Each exhalation, we're lifting pelvic floor, navel in and up.
Feel all the warmth and the space that's opening up for these hips. Breathe into it. Steady your breath. Now, warrior two, lift the right arm up. Go into warrior two to stay. Look over the middle finger of that left hand. Breathe here. Again, tailbone absorbs in, lower belly lifts. Keep sending the tension out through the fingertips so you create space in the shoulders. And when that inner body is supported, you can find that the chest, the shoulders, they release. You actually feel like you're getting taller. Let that warmth build. One more. And then we're going to pinwheel our fingertips to the floor towards that front foot, pivot on the ball of the back foot. Now again, if you want that padding under your knee, flip your mat over. Inhale, the arms reach up. We'll bring the twist in on this side now. Left hand to thigh. Take the right elbow over. Set it on top of your thigh. Fist with the bottom hand, cup with the top, or hands in prayer. Now make sure you get a nice deep twist here, pelvic floor, navel drawing in and up. And then if you're feeling comfortable still, you want to straighten that back leg and make it a high lunge twist. That's great. Keep pressing the back heel both up and out. Reach into the pad of the front foot. Last one. Fingertips to the floor, step your back foot forward, come into standing forward fold with the feet hip distance apart, and hands onto the glutes, just slide down like we started, giving that nice coaxing sensation to the body, reminding it that we're here for love and compassion. That everything we're doing is for its support. Good. Inhale, the arms reach all the way up as you lift and rise. And then exhale. Arms by your side, and take a moment just to adjust. So some of these slower practices, we can find the heat. It's just a deep, slow burn. And in many ways, it has a greater effect on the body than just those hard, fast flows. You're really challenging the muscles to stay strong and engaged, even throughout the slow lengthening that comes in through the posture. Building its tensile strength. One more here. And then back at the front of your mat, we're going to vinyasa to the floor. So inhale, the arms reach up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway to monkey pose with a flat back. And then exhale, step or lightly hop back to plank position. This time, if you want, you can leave the knees lifted for chaturanga. Inhale then into up dog instead of cobra. And exhale to downward facing dog. One more breath here in down dog. And then bring the knees to the floor and sit tall on your heels to rest. And we're coming into Virasana, so take the heels just to the outside edges of the hips. And if you want, your thumbs can spread the calf heads in the heads of the calves in half. And if your hips don't touch the floor, you can place a block underneath them. And then just rest your hands comfortably in your lap. So we've done a lot of external rotation here. This nice internal rotation for those inner thighs. And just breathe. Kind of counterposing some of that work. And slow the breath back down to your V-Samavriti breath. Remember the pelvic floor and core engagement on exhalation. Two more. Remember that the seated postures were the goal, and all the other postures were created to make the seated postures more comfortable. so that we could sit for longer periods of meditation, ultimately moving from Hatha Yoga to Raja Yoga. All right, so gently open your eyes. If you had a block, release that, and we're going to take the legs out wide. So Upavishta Konasana, seated wide angle. Take your hands on the inside of your pelvis and scoot forward so you create an anterior or a forward tilt to your pelvic floor. And if you want, you can also move the flesh out of the way by just lifting the flesh up and back and scooting the hips back a little bit more. Fingers in a finger stand. So sit with a tall spine to start. Feet are flexed. And as you exhale, you're going to just gently walk forward. And find that first area of sensation. Be real honest with yourself. Like, where's that first area where I feel like the body has a little resistance? And then just stop there and breathe. And again, can you send your breath directly into that sensation? And if it softens for you, there's the body's way of telling you that you can go further. If it doesn't, you stay there and breathe. And then keep going if there's some permission from the body to take your time to go a little further. Try to maintain that open heart and collarbone spread wide, so we're not collapsing or rounding the upper back. Trying to keep a straight spine as much as possible as we hinge from our hips. And again here too, we don't want to lose what we've created throughout the practice, that pelvic floor and core lifting on exhalation will provide some support for the spine. Will allow you to send the sternum forward a little further. And then just waiting till the body gives you permission. And if something starts to soften, you can go down a little further. Maybe stack your hands in fists so you can rest your forehead down. Keep giving in. Remember, when you encounter that tension, whatever it is, your body put that in place for protection. So ultimately, though it may be frustrating, it was all done in love. Good, last one here. Now gently walk your hands back. Take your time. Just pad the hands back into a tall spine again. Just feel the adjustment there. And then hands underneath your knees. Just cross into Sukhasana for a moment. Just giving the backs of the legs a moment to completely relax. Okay, so from here, take the outside of your right foot into the crease of your left elbow and then wrap the right arm around and just rock back and forth. So opening up that hip joint. Sometimes rocking slower feels good. Sometimes rocking faster feels good. And then those of you that have a little more flexibility, maybe try reaching the foot up towards the forehead. You can get it to touch. And then we'll bring it back down and do the other side. So the outside of your left foot into the crease of the right elbow, and then just rock back and forth. Shin or calf is parallel to the earth. And at least for me, I noticed that I have very different right and left sides. So just be aware. And again, if you got a little more flexibility, try lifting the foot higher. Maybe touching it to the forehead, and then come down. Take a moment in Sukhasana just to feel. Okay, Ekapada Paschimottanasana, Ekapada Padma Paschimottanasana. Left leg straight, internal rotation of that left leg. And then same thing here. You can start with your foot just in Janu, which is the heel as close to the perineum as possible, knee opening out to the side. Or we've just done a lot of work to open up those hips, so maybe reach for the outside of the right foot and take it into the crease of the left hip and thigh. So you're in a half lotus position. Now, if you can wrap the right arm around your back and grab onto the toes, that's fantastic. If not, it's nice to have a strap, or you can just opt out of the shoulder bind altogether. Inhale the left arm up in the air, and then exhale and lean forward and reach wherever you land. So shin, ankle, foot, floor, head and neck is relaxed here. Breathe deeply. So half bound lotus pose in the forward fold. And just like your other asanas, pull the pelvic floor and navel in and up. Keep drawing the right shoulder away from the ear and squeezing that shoulder blade slightly down the back, creating just a little more room in the neck. And just because it's intense doesn't mean that we don't still surrender like we did for Upavishta Konasana. We still are going to find the body relaxing incrementally, being mindful to listen to those messages. Last one. And then lift the chest, hold on to either the shin or the toes. Lift the chest so you feel almost like you're in monkey pose for a moment. And then come the rest of the way up. And if you had a strap, release it, releasing the bind. And just straighten the legs into Dandasana. So feet straight, flexed, legs straight, arms by your side. Press the palms into the earth. Grow tall through your spine, chin in slightly. So Jalandhara Bandha. Back of the neck is nice and long. Back of the skull is lifting. And then we'll do the other side. So right leg is going to stay straight. You can take your left foot just into Janu. This is a great option. Or you can try for that half lotus. We've done some good work to open up the hips here. So you're going to reach for the outside of the left foot and bring it up as high as you can into the crease of the right hip and thigh. So here we have, again, strap if you need it. Or if you have the flexibility, you're just going to reach the left arm around and grab the toes of the left leg. You can opt out of the bind in the shoulder completely, and we'll inhale the arms, reach up, and then exhale, come forward. Again, hinging from your hips, hand to shin, ankle, foot, wherever you land. And then inhale, grow a little longer, and exhale, soften and fold. So keep a slight internal rotation to that supporting leg. You have a tendency for it to want to tilt to the side. And each exhalation, with that longer V-Samavriti breath, pull the pelvic floor and navel in and up. And you may even find as you engage pelvic floor and navel, you can bring the left ribs in a little closer and square the chest to the thigh a little bit better. Keep coming forward with the heart, so we're not going to just collapse the upper back. And just take 2 more breaths here, please. V-Samavriti breathing. Now to pull out of this, again, you're holding whatever your bind is, shin, ankle, or foot or floor. You're going to lift your chest halfway so it feels like you're in a monkey pose, and then come the rest of the way up, and we'll release both legs again, finding Dandasana staff. If you need to move the flesh from your sit bones, please do so. Hands by the hips, press down, chin in slightly, back of the neck long, and Jalandhara Bandha. And the legs are firm here, the pelvic floor is lifting, there's inner body lift. So even though on the outside it looks like you're not really doing much in this posture, there's a lot going on. Good. Opening the left leg out to the side like you were going back into Upavishta Konasana. We're going to take the right foot to the perineum, so heel to the perineum as close as possible. So this is more like a really wide Janu Sirsasana. And then inhale, your left arm is going to reach up. And on the exhale, lean on the inside of that leg. And if you have the flexibility, you can place the forearm on the inside of the calf. Maybe grab the pad of the big toe, elbow pressing into the thigh. Inhale, the right arm reaches up. And this sometimes it's just nice to stay here. So you can just extend through the fingertips, navel rotates to the right, stay heavy through the right hip. If you've got a little more flexibility, take the top arm over the head, maybe reach for the pinky toe side of the foot and rotate the navel a little deeper to the right, elbow bends. Breathing here. All that space in the hips, all that room we've created today. Grow heavy through your right thigh. Imagine a weight attached to it. One more breath. Now inhale the right arm up. Like someone's pulling your hand, slowly come back up into a seated position. Take a moment here. And we'll switch sides. So now the right leg extends out like you're going into Upavishta Konasana. Take the left foot, heel as close to the perineum as possible. Inhale the right arm up. And exhale, lean on the inside of that leg. And so here again, if you can get the forearm to the floor, just on the inside of the calf, that's great. You can just leave the palm facing up, or you can grab onto the big toe pad of the foot. Elbow presses into the calf. Inhale the left arm straight up in the air. So just start here to push into that bottom elbow. This is one of the reasons why we bind there, so that we can have a little leverage to rotate the navel deeper to the left. And then if you're starting to feel that the body's adjusting, getting comfortable here, try taking the arm either over the head, just palm facing down, deeper in the lateral stretch, or reaching for the pinky toe pad of the foot, and then rotating the navel deeper to the left, bending the top elbow. No matter which position you're in, keep breathing. Send your inhale into the sensation. You'll intensify it for a moment, and then exhale, release whatever was there, physical, mental, emotional. So when we use the breath to deepen the posture in this way, then we're really working with nature, in alignment with nature. When we try to muscle our way into a posture, and then we're barely breathing, and then we're working against it. Last two. And now left arm lifts up. Again, you're going to engage that left side body, pulling that hand back up. Take a moment just to feel all that space and length. Good. And then one more here for the hips, and then we will be preparing for Shavasana. So you're just going to flex your left foot, take your right foot on top of your left knee. So if you have your shins stacked, then we can look between the legs and see a triangle without anything in the way. Now, sometimes just sitting like this is enough for people's hips, especially when we're tight. This is Agni Stambhasana, the fire log pose. So we can just stay here. We can just also keep the sternum lifting and shoulders reaching away, and that might be enough. If it's still too intense, you can always prop your hips up, or you can also slide your foot down your calf a little bit. But ideally, we want to work towards this complete stacking of ankles and knees. Fingers into finger stand, start to lean forward, just like we did for that wide forward fold. And then again, be honest with yourself. Where do you find that first area of sensation? Let your body acclimate there. If you jump 2 steps ahead, then what happens is the body is tense because it's trying to adjust to a much deeper position. So if we go slowly, then we're just kind of easing our way into it. And again, when the body softens, that's your way of knowing, okay, it's time to move forward a little bit. Now watch as you let go of tension in one hip, that you don't gather it in the other hip. Sometimes we're trying to still hold on to that tension, even if unconsciously. And just keep the spine neutral, so head, neck, tailbone, as much of a straight line as possible.
Keep letting go. Find that longer exhale breath as an opportunity to release. And then slowly walk back. Take your time, sit tall, feel the release. And then switch the legs. So now the left foot stacks directly on top of the right knee, right foot directly underneath the left knee. Look between your legs, see a triangle without anything in the way. Fingers in a finger stand, lift your sternum. And then exhale and come forward, just leaning into the sensation. Keep the spine straight as possible. Send the hips back. And again, just being honest about that first area of sensation. Breathe into it. Keep pulling pelvic floor and core in and up on exhalation. All that sensation really pulls the mind inward. So enjoy the quiet. Just a few more here. Make sure you haven't gathered tension in the other hip. Relax both of them. And then once again, slowly make your way back up. Take a moment just to sit, feel the spine release, the hips release. And then Dandasana, straighten the legs. Internally rotate the thighs, so grab the outer thighs, roll them in and down, flex your feet, hands beside the hips. Just take a moment. And we'll come onto our backs. So if you have a block nearby, have that block be handy as you slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time onto your spine. And if you want to hug your knees into your chest, maybe rock a little bit just to loosen any tension that might be there still. Good. We're going to come into legs up the wall. So you're certainly welcome to just have the spine straight and legs extended, soles of the feet facing the ceiling, if you prefer to keep the spine straight. Or come into bridge pose, rise as high onto the balls of the feet as possible, and slide the block underneath. Ideally, it goes on the tallest edge. If that's not possible, middle or low edge is fine. And then we'll take the legs up into the air. What we want is to get that block into a position where it feels effortless to hold the legs up. And if you're near a wall at your home, you're certainly welcome to just do legs up the wall pose instead. And to do that, you'd come into fetal with your hips and your feet against the wall and then just slide your legs up. But this is a deeply relaxing posture for the nervous system. So we've done a nice, slow, deep internalizing flow today. And this just really caps it off. And then when we're speeding through life, a lot of times what's driving us is that strong will, ambition, minds projecting and then fulfilling. But when we slow down, we hear different messages. We may still hear the messages of the mind and the goals and dreams and desires that are there, but we also hear nature. We hear the Divine Mother. We look around and we see her expression, the patience and the spring flowers as they wait to bloom, pausing when it gets cold, and then returning to their opening when it gets warm. We listen to the weather, to the animals and their behaviors, to the graceful unfolding. Just a few more breaths here, using this inversion to let gravity pull the pelvic floor and navel in and up on exhale. Now we'll very slowly take one leg down and then the other. Slide the block out and ease the spine back into the earth. And then just prepare for Shavasana. Just allow the legs to extend long. Knees open up to the side. There's an external rotation of the hips. Arms are down by the side, palms are facing up. And the elbows open out to the side. Shoulders roll open and shoulder blades hug in. The body just softens back into the earth, again feeling the pull of gravity. But now no longer resisting that, truly just giving in. And make sure you let the breath go. And let the mind grow quiet, resting in the pauses between breaths.
So very slowly begin to deepen your breath. And take the time to watch the breath come back into the body. And then you can move thumbs across the fingertips and wiggle the toes. And gently rotate wrists and ankles. And without rushing, hug knees to chest. And curl to your right side into fetal. Arm under the head as a pillow as you rest on your side. And then anchor the hand into the earth and gradually come back up into a seated position. If you want to prop your sit bones up on a bolster or a blanket, please do so. And sit with a tall spine, a relaxed body. And just take a moment to feel the ease. Complete and total ease in the body and mind. More at one with the present moment. When I think of the Divine Feminine, I think of an internal knowing, a knowingness that each and every woman I've ever met carries with her. And so from that place of a connection to the divine knowingness inside of our hearts, bring your thumbs there, hands into prayer, connecting physically to the heart space. And just return to the intention that we set at the beginning of the practice. And just trust that you received what you could receive. Let the rest go. Just sealing the practice today with the Gayatri mantra. Om Bhur-Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varinyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Earth, atmosphere, heaven, we meditate on the radiant source. May it inspire our hearts. Namaste.